So, in just the same way that athletes will visualize success, right? Like they spend time intentionally over and over, repeatedly visualizing the play they want to make, right? They visualize themselves being a winner. They have a solid self concept that they've built up of, I'm an athlete. This is who I am. This is what I do. You get to do that in every single area of your life. Yeah? Like you get to do this in your relationships. You get to do this with your body, in your health, and how you visually look. You get to do this in your money, in your career. You get to do this with everything. So I want to talk about self-concept today because this is a big part of my work. And this was something that when I really began to understand this, I finally started to have breakthroughs in my manifestations. So I want you to think of an area in your life that's easy for you. Something about yourself or an area of your life where you feel really solid and confident. Something that feels like it's a constant for you. Something that's just so natural to you that you like don't even think about it, okay? Like maybe you just always attract awesome people to date. Maybe you always have amazing relationships. Maybe you just always feel like, yeah, I'm beautiful, I'm attractive, I know I'm hot. Like maybe you're just like, you know that whatever you eat, you never gain weight, so you never really think about what you eat, like, you know, whatever. Like put this, maybe money, you're like, oh, I just always have money, like anything I create sells, you know what I mean? Like what do you have a good solid self-concept around? And you know, if you're someone who's struggling in all the areas, try to find something, you know, even outside of yourself. You're like, I know the sun's going to rise every single day. That's like something I don't doubt, right? Like you can do that. Been there. I get it, guys. But when you think about that thing that you don't question, that you just assume. And if you're thinking of it as something outside of yourself, right? Like that's just something that you assume because you've never really, it's just something that happens on its own. You don't really put any thought or energy into it. When it's something about you, like a characteristic or something you experience or how something in your life goes, that's because on a subconscious level, that's who you really believe yourself to be. And so you just automatically are creating experiences that are in alignment with that self-concept, right? So when we're wanting, and it's effortless, it's not like you have to like sit and strategize a whole lot. Like, sure, like there's a time and a place for logic and reason and like taking action, but like, you know, that's just like what gets expressed for you. That's what shows up for you. And so in the same way, we can go in and change our self-concept. So where a lot of people go wrong with manifestation is they're like, ooh, I want X amount of money. Ooh, I want to manifest this person. And oh, I want this. But deep down, they're not actually believing themselves to be that person. Yeah. Like they have a very different self-concept going on. And this will play out in a couple different ways. This will play out sometimes like you just don't get what you want. Like you feel like life is a struggle. That's your self-concept deep down, that life is a struggle and you don't get what you want. That can be for many different reasons. Side note, that's my area of expertise, to help you really find what's going on subconsciously that you're not aware of that's holding you back. So just know that. This can also play out where like you manifest things and then you struggle to keep them, right? I use the example all the time of like people who win the lottery, who like had a poverty mindset before. Doesn't matter how many millions they win, they're going to essentially push that away. They're going to sabotage it. It's going to run out very quickly because their 3D reality has to match the self-concept they're holding inside. And if they have not up-leveled their self-concept to one of a wealthy person who's comfortable with money, who feels worthy and deserving of money, who feels capable of managing the money, of course that money's not going to stay. People do this in relationships all the time, right? People do this with their body. They believe the diet is the solution, so they get on the diet, but the second they're off the diet, they don't actually believe that this is who they've become now. That was conditional upon the diet and they gain the weight. I talked about this one briefly the other day too, I think yesterday or the day before. You know, sometimes people, their self-concept is, or their like deep down belief system is like, okay, well, I can achieve it, but only if I work really hard, only if I follow a very specific plan, only if I suffer and struggle enough. And it's like, okay, that's cool, but you're free to change that too. Like you can make it a lot easier because you're making the rules. It's really about what are you impressing on your subconscious mind. And this does take discipline and it takes repetition. And a lot of people give up too soon. Yeah. So the key, as far as I'm concerned, to manifesting is self-concept. And I'm when I speak of wealth, right? Like, so I love to speak about wealth. I like to talk about having it all, being unapologetic about claiming it all. This is a big part of it, because let's use money as an example. You don't just want X amount of money. You want to actually feel wealthy. You want to actually feel stable and secure. You want to actually feel comfortable with money. You want to make money in a way that feels good to you. You don't want to have to struggle and sacrifice for it, right? Like for me, I've set up a lot of streams because I like passive income, right? Like I like my freedom. So, and you want to be able to hold on to your money, and you want to feel good, because in my 20s, I made a lot of money. I made a lot more than most people I knew, but I wasn't holding on to it. And I always was in a constant state of fear around money, because I had serious poverty programming going on just because of how I was brought up. And my dad's a doctor. There was really no reason for this. It's all mental. It's self-concept. There's a quote I heard a couple years ago that I absolutely love. And it was that wealth is the ability to experience life fully. And that hits home for me so strong, because it's like, yeah, and I'm just explaining this in the money sense, but think about it too. Like, what good is all the financial freedom in the world? What good is all the money in the world if you don't have the time to enjoy it? What good is all the financial and time and location freedom if you don't actually love yourself, if you feel like shit in your body, if you don't like how you look, if you have health issues, if you don't have love and good people to share it with? Like, what the fuck is the point, right? So like, the thing is, you can have it all. You just have to create a self-concept that matches that. And changing your self-concept in the beginning isn't the most easy thing. It's not for the faint of heart, because it's going to ask you to go within yourself and kind of deny your outer senses and deny what you've experienced up until now, which the ego likes to fight for that and be like, but this is real. But the thing is, it's all your past experience, your current circumstances are only real if you keep feeding them energy. Like, you paying attention to them, you agreeing to the fact that they are real is the only thing that keeps them intact. So when you want to dissolve, the eyelashes disappeared. I'm okay with that though. It's the morning, guys, my filters. You can create a whole new reality, but you got to go within. The only thing keeping it intact is your belief in it. So the second that you withdraw your energy and start focusing on you unconditionally and what you choose to believe, regardless of what you've experienced in the past, regardless of what it shows on the outside, that's when you start taking your power back, and you can really, really create massive change in your life. But a lot of people are not mentally and emotionally strong enough to do this, simply because they don't believe, right? They have more faith in the outer. So let me just wrap this up here. For those of you who are serious about really mastering yourself and your reality, it's possible, but you have to commit. You have to really believe it. And in the beginning, it's not going to be the easiest thing. It's not hard work in the sense of going out in the world and hustling. The inner work, it almost sometimes will look like you're doing nothing, but you're not, because you're retraining your mind, you're retraining your emotions, you are expanding your beliefs of what you think is possible, and you're committing to that. And that actually takes a lot of energy. And the thing is, when people aren't in charge of this, they're leaking their energy, and the action you take in the physical is very watered down. It's not very powerful. There's a book that I love. It's called Power versus Force, that goes deep into this. So just know in the beginning, it's going to take time, but it's really worth it. And here's what happens once you do the work and your inner story becomes more strong and powerful, and you believe it more than your past story and what you're currently seeing manifested in your 3D reality. That will lock in as your self-concept. That's going to be the program that's running on autopilot in your subconscious mind, and it's going to naturally be expressed out and continue to create beautiful, wonderful experiences that are in alignment with that self-concept. And then it does get to be effortless. So just like in the beginning, when I asked you to think of something that's just easy and natural for you, that's because that's the program that's running in your subconscious mind, right? Our subconscious mind is amazing. It will create things for us. This is why, I experienced this back in the day in relationships where I was it's same person, different face. I don't get it. And it's because I had this concept of what a partner was. And so my beautiful subconscious mind was creating oh, okay, you don't like this one? Let me do another. And I was like amazing how many different versions of essentially the same thing my mind could create. So just think, when you get a favorable self-concept in, you can just live eternally with like amazing experiences, like more goodness, more wealth, more easy money, more beautiful relationships, more health, more beautiful surprising things, right? It's just a matter of steering the ship in a different direction, and that initial turn can take a lot of energy. But seriously, it's so fucking worth it. You're worth it. And I think that's a big part of manifestation too, of like learning to master this, is making the decision to choose to believe that you're fucking worth your time and energy. Because a lot of people deep down, they really don't love themselves. They really don't think they're worthy of good things, and they don't believe that it can happen for them. So if you don't believe that, you're not going to be committed. You're not going to show up for yourself. You know? So it's not just about the thing you want to manifest, it's how you want to live your life. It's how you want to feel. It's who you want to be. It's how you want to experience this life, this incarnation, this world, your body, relationships. Like, that fucking matters. Your experience matters. You're worth it. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share with you today. If you're looking for support, I would love to support you. The link in my bio has all the ways. It has other free resources.